Oh, Dios mío, VTuber drama. Now, here's the thing. I actually liked VTubers a couple of years ago. I already explained that when I went and I saw the state of the internet, it was sanitized during COVID. You couldn't make any jokes, you couldn't say anything. And then you have these girls talking about ground pounding your mom and getting angry and toxic. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. And this is why I started promoting them. Now, eventually, where women go, you're going to have examples where certain ladies would have avatars with big tits. They would just make ooh faces and kissy noises, and that was the content. And I never promoted that. But I thought, like, I'm just going to promote the stuff that I like, where, the ladies are talented, they're singing, they're drawing. It's nice, right? It's nice. Now, if you guys notice, after a while, I stopped promoting VTubers. I mean, I know the irony that I have a VTuber avatar myself, but I'm completely disconnected from that community now. And this is due to the fact that I know what's happening behind the scenes. Like, I actually spoke with managers from VTuber companies because I talk with artists, and there's an overlap, especially now that I'm doing Live 2D and stuff. So I know people that work within these companies. I speak with the managers. I even speak with some VTubers. And my fucking god, like, once you know what's behind the scenes, you just don't want to watch it anymore. Like, you can't watch it. You can't be entertaining. Here's the thing, you see two girls collabing, and they're allegedly having wholesome fun, and they're talking to each other, and you know they hate their guts. You know that behind the scenes, they absolutely despise each other, and it's the level of fakeness. So now, like, people are like, V, you need to talk about fruit. It's like, talk about fruit. And I'm like, all right, well, let's see. Why do you want me to talk about fruit? Well, apparently, it's because I made a video on the main channel talking about the viral TikTok trend of women cheating on men on the military, right? And apparently, like, everyone is shocked. It's like, whoa, it's 2024, and you know what I found out? You know what I found out? That women cheat. It's like, oh my goodness. Oh, how is this possible? Like, I never knew. Like, is this something that can happen? Like, humans can cheat? Yes. But it's the military, like, that is sacred. That is, like, something that should never, like, he is out there defending our country, fighting for the Middle East, because the Middle East is invading the United States or something. I don't know. I think it can be summarized very easily. Long-distance relationships do not work. I don't care if you're in the military. I don't care if you're in prison. I don't care if you're on a space exploration, you're an astronaut, and you're going into space in order to further humanity's ability to colonize other planets. All right, listen. Long-distance relationships do not work. Period. They don't. So, I mean, close relationships do not work in 2024. There's too much temptation. Back in the day, you actually had to leave your house to find some big boobies. Now you can find it online on dating apps and shit. So, the temptation is way too big, right? Long distance relationships do not. I'm not saying this, by the way, to say that what fruit did is understandable or acceptable. No. But what I'm saying is, like, it's not shocking. You know, like a Mexican video with a cartel execution, that shocks me. But hearing that some chick that's a millionaire and she is so popular that she has, like, hundreds of thousands of simps, has cheated on a guy. Like, what do you want me to do? It's like, oh my god, did it happen? Oh, say it ain't so. How could this have taken place? Is there no God? What is Jesus doing nowadays? How can he allow this? A millionaire cheated on a... No. Don't you notice that, like, Hollywood is filled with divorces? It's like a conveyor belt of divorces in Hollywood. It's almost like famous people that have access to hundreds of thousands of fans cheat nonstop. And it's not just women. Look at rock stars. Like, there's a reason why they call it sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Is that what they're fucking doing? What did she do? What Fruit did? Apparently, her husband was deployed in the military, and she cheated on 5 guys with him, allegedly. But it's not her fault, because she was in an abusive relationship. Now, granted, though, that argument is a little bit bizarre. I have never heard a man say, I'm cheating on my wife because she abused me. I'm not saying such a man doesn't exist. It's just that I've never heard the argument. Like, usually men will either try to deny that the cheating happened, or they will be embarrassed and will be like, well, it was a moment of weakness or something like that. Or they may even say, it's like, well, she wasn't giving me any sex. You know, like, she was making me sleep on the couch. She wasn't having sex with me. So if I couldn't get it from the import, I had to go to the exports, right? That's what men say. At least they actually own it up in a way, right? Or they're lying and they're trying to avoid the conversation altogether. But I've yet to hear a man go, well, yeah, but like, she was abusive, so I had to cheat on her. Like, what the fuck is that? If he is abusive, then fucking divorce him. Divorce him and then you can do whatever. Or I was trying to exercise my body's autonomy. It's like, well, okay, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, if you're in a relationship, right, you agree that you don't sleep with other people. He agrees that they don't. It's a mutual thing. It's a two-way street. If you don't like it, don't be in a relationship. Imagine agreeing to go and do a job. Like, you're agreeing to work. And then you're just leaving the premise. And you're like, well, what are you? Well, I'm exercising my right to freedom. It's like, yeah, but you're under working hours. Yeah, but I don't care. Yeah, but you sign a contract. Yeah, but like... The eyes which do not see each other forgive themselves. Yeah. Like, what I want people to understand from what I'm saying about the fact that long-distance relationships don't work is that you as a guy, all right? No, actually, I will teach you the philosophy of Stoicism right now, all right? Listen. You as a person cannot control the ones around you. Like, we cannot mind control other people. We cannot control the actions of the people around us. But we can control our actions. So if you're planning to join the military, my advice to you is get a girlfriend after you graduate. Like first you do your military duty and then you get a woman. Alright? Just don't do it the other way around. If you do it the other way around, know that there is a high risk, not a small one, a high risk that you're going to end up being very upset. They even have this in the military, for fuck's sake. Like, it's such a common occurrence. It happens so often that even in the military, they call, what do they call it? Jody? It's like the guy that sleeps with everyone's girlfriend, right? Like, even in the military, it's like such a common occurrence that has happened for so many decades that even they make a joke about it. And when you're the new recruit, it's like, Jody is banging your wife. Like, that's something they say to new recruits. I don't even know if it's a woman moment. Like, imagine this, right? Imagine you're a guy and you got a girlfriend and she actually is deployed in the military, right? But all of a sudden, you have like these dozens of female fans and they're like hot 10 out of 10 waifus. They're rubbing their titties in your face and inviting you to all these parties and, you know... Like the difference is that for a man, usually the temptation isn't there. But, like, let's imagine that you live in this world where like, all these women just want to be with you. And how many men do you think would be like, well, no, sorry, I have a girlfriend. She's in the military. I mean, many probably would. There would be probably guys like that. And there are probably women that also are like, well, my husband is in the military. But a lot of men, we know they wouldn't. While you're out there in deep space exploration, she's out there in deep space getting colonized. Don't be toxic, demanding loyalty. Look, man, what I'm saying isn't how the world should be, right? What I'm saying is after living on this planet Earth for more than 37 years and having seen how people act, I noticed that what people like to say and express about themselves is completely different than what people are and what they are doing. So... if I was to start life over and I wanted to join the military, I would definitely get a girlfriend after. And not to mention, your chances of getting a woman after you've been to military increases dramatically. Women like a man in a uniform, right? You put those pictures on Facebook, women are going to salivate, and you're going to have much better pickings after you graduated, after you finished your service, after you're honorably discharged. Hi V, hope all is well. You are doing good. This is why I'm glad I'm still single and don't have to worry about this. See? He's got no fruit. He got no fruit. The thing that I don't get though is like people are a lot more upset about who she slept with than the other thing she did. Okay, so I'm looking at the list of accusations. The first accusation is that during the activists ganging up on fellow VTubers for playing the Hogwarts Wizard game. So like for those of you who don't know, but I think like everyone knows at this point. However, I will repeat it regardless. So there was when Hogwarts came out, it actually looked like a really great game, and it is. I think it actually is a good game. But because J.K. Rowling gets royalties from that game because it's her IP, a lot of trans activists were absolutely livid, and they tried to boycott the game. Now it's not like Heels versus Babyface boycotting a game in the sense that he's not going to buy it. No, these people wanted to punish streamers who also buy the game. Like you go on Reset Era and they would ban anyone mentioning the game. And I remember it was so hilarious because not only were they doing that, but at the same time they would have commercials for the game running on their website. So the moderators would be like, if you talk about this game, we're going to ban your ass. But there were commercials with that game on the web. Does that make any sense? Hassan Piker says he is afraid to play that game. Just so you can understand, like, the toxic vitriol surrounding this game, and it was all done by leftist activists with various flags and paraphernalia in their bios, right? They had a website where they would name the content creators that would play the game so that you know who they are and you can boycott them. And they went after VTubers in the sense that they would dox them. They would try to get them fired. They would dig through their social media, trying to find anything that is remotely offensive. Alright, so now that you know, you also need to take into account that up until this point, these activists were dominating the internet. Like, if you misgendered someone on Twitter, they would get you banned. If you said something remotely controversial, they would get you banned. That was the 2020 internet. And people were having a lot of animosity towards these activists that would go around swinging their big fat dicks like a helicopter on the internet, just waiting to whiplash with their massive cocks anyone that disagrees with their activism, right? So at this point, with the Hogwarts Wizard game, when they went after VTubers and you see the anime lady pissing her eyes and crying because she's getting doxxed, a lot of people that didn't even care about VTubers, a lot of people that didn't give a shit, it's like, you know what? This is not my battle, but I'm joining it anyway because fuck these people. Like, we are so sick and tired of these moral busybodies dictating their morality that we don't even agree with, forcing us to live by their rules that we don't even consent to, and having so much influence to change terms of service and influence like all this culture and making the internet a less fun place because they're the fun police. So a lot of people just went in and they're like, you know what? We're going to defend VTubers. But not Fruit. No, not Fruit. Now, what's interesting with Fruit is that her history, from my understanding, from my research, is that she was a 4chaner. And she used to say a lot of things about a lot of people. Things that probably she doesn't believe anymore. But now, she's in Vishojo. Now, she is surrounded by all these leftists, and she needs to show that she is one of them and that she supports. Right? It's like trans rights are human rights all of a sudden, right? So, she went against her, like, she didn't show support for her fellow VTubers that were getting harassed. I think it was like, what, Silver Veil, Silver Tail, whatever the fuck her name is. But she was getting harassed, and Fruit is like, oh, I'm going to start a charity and give money to the mermaids. And apparently, to this day, she has to show receipts for the money that she gathered and allegedly donated. Right? So, that's a controversy that I find it a little bit more interesting than the fact that she slept with 5 guys. Because a lot of women sleep with 5 guys. Like, to this point, I wish I was shocked, but I have seen it so many times happening to the point when it's like, I mean, I gotta put up with it. What can I say? You know, you don't like it. You know, it's kind of like seeing shoplifting in California. Yeah. Like, shoplifting isn't normal, but you see it so many times, it's like, well, you hear about it, it's like, I mean, well, it's California, yeah, right? I mean, what can you do? You know, seeing a feces, like a human excrement on the streets of San Francisco. Like, that is not normal. That shouldn't be there. But it's there. And it's like, well, it's Cat Francisco. Of course you're good, right? So, like, from my perspective, it's the same. It's like, oh, this woman cheated. And I'm like, okay. And it's like coming up to me and it's like, V, on my way home on Cat Francisco, I saw a big doo-doo. And I'm like, okay, so? Yeah, but it was really big, V. It was super big. It was like massive. And I'm like, yeah, but, and, you know, like, it doesn't really influences me anymore. Like, I'm apathetic to it. But this other thing, this other thing is more interesting because, like, a lot of people don't do that. You know, a lot of people don't behave this way. Like, you do not join the Vtuber community, and then when your community is under attack by weirdos who are basically telling you what games you are and aren't allowed to play, instead of, like, sticking out for your best interests, because you're sticking out for your community not because you care about others, but because it's in your fucking best interest. Like, what world is it where people get to dictate what games you are and aren't allowed to play? What the fuck madness is that, right? And instead of you just saying, well, no, you're like, yeah, well, actually, I'm going to give in to these people, and I'm going to show them that they're right. So, yeah, like, that was a little bit more problematic than the first one. By the way, did you know, like, someone actually told me something very interesting. So, the new God of War game came out, and no one is buying it. Now, here's my take on why no one is buying it. Because, again, the journalists will say, well, this is due to various reasons. It's because, I don't know, people already bought it on Sony. People already played it. It's an old game. The price, yes, the price is the problem. Here's my take. Why God of War isn't selling. No one talks about it. There's no more fandoms. There are no fandoms for these games. Nobody is discussing them. There is no word of mouth. I didn't even know that this game launched. And if I did, I wouldn't have given a shit. It's getting to the point where people are so disinterested in it. It's hilarious. I remember when God of War was initially announced for the Steam engine, for the Steam platform, and people were excited and they were like, oh my goodness, we're going to get to play God of War. And everyone was talking about it. Everyone was discussing it. I'm willing to bet that if tomorrow they announce, hey, we're going to release Bloodborne for Steam, people will talk about it, despite the fact that it's an old game. Even though people played it on Sony. They can even sell it, I'm willing to bet, if they remaster Bloodborne, right? Like, if they actually pamper up the graphics, they make the graphics look good, they can sell it for $70. They can have the big testicles and sell it for $70. People will buy it. Because that's the fucking difference at this point. They have completely destroyed their fandoms. The community managers themselves are inherently responsible for this. If you don't have the right opinions, if you don't speak the correct speech, they will ban your ass. They will ban your ass from Reddit. They will ban your ass from the Discord server. They will ban your ass, block you, share block lists on Twitter. And then they're like, oh, why is no one sharing the game? Where are the people? I mean, sure, you know, you have Kotaku and Polygon talking about it, but no one reads them. Like, they have like a 2-view audience now. Hello, monkey. Rumors are they lost the source code for Bloodborne. It's possible. I don't understand how a company, though, can lose the source code. Like, I understand how an indie developer can do it. But I generally like don't get how is it possible for like a person who's working at a AAA company, like they have so many checks and boundaries, and there's so many servers, and it's stored in so many places. I generally don't get how you can lose the source code. Now, I get how it's possible. I think, what was it, Diablo or StarCraft? Like, one of those old games. Like, that's more possible because you have, like, 6 or 7 people working in a garage. So, you know, it's like the technology is outdated. Like how many... Like, if you have a CD-ROM right now, how easy it is for you to find a place to actually set it in. Because I think, like, it's next to impossible. Like, unless you find a CD reader... Yeah, I think even a DVD reader is... No, a DVD reader would be compatible, right? So I guess like you can have a DVD reader to read a CD-ROM. But like, if you have your source code on a CD from back in the day, then yeah, I can see the problem. But to lose the source code for that, yeah, like Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2. Again, very old games. A lot of people working in a garage. There's no cloud back then. There's no other physical way of storing it than on CDs, floppy disks, and a hard drive, right? So, I kind of see it. But like in a AAA company now where you have tens of thousands of people working on the project, it's next to fucking impossible to just like completely lose the source code. The only way I can think of it is like if someone actually used malware in order to delete it. Or it had like a kill switch or something, and if like a employee gets disgruntled, he can just flip the kill switch and all the program gets deleted. Hello, Squeaky Vtuber. Is the male here? No, it's the non-binary troll. God, I'm just bewildered. I guess on how much people care about internet drama. It's, you know, let me put it this way. One of the things that I really didn't get about my dad's generation, and this wasn't just my father, but like, you would have like 4 or 5 guys, right, sitting in front of a TV screen and watching football. And then they would be like talking with the people from within the TV, like talking with the players, like, how could you have given such a pass? Or they would start screaming like, go! Or they would start cursing at the television. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with them? What? I mean, obviously, you know, it doesn't have voice communication. Like, the players don't actually hear what you're shouting. But this is what a lot of our parents did, because it wasn't just mine. Like, maybe it's a Romanian thing. I don't know. But, like, people talking with the little people running out of a bowl in the television. It's just mental. But now I see other individuals, right? Oh, did you see that? Fruit released a 90-page document. And they read the 90-page document, okay? Like, they actually read a 90-page document. They want to get involved into another person's that they don't know, they don't speak with. They want to see what this millionaire chica is doing in her private life. And then they get angry. Like, this is something that I don't understand. Like, why would I read something so I can get angry, so I can get filled with all these negative emotions? And it's not enough. Like, then they start arguing with other people on the internet that they never meet. They never talk about, but like, no, this guy has the wrong opinion. Like, how can you not have the same opinion that I do? Can't you see that she is a victim? No, she is not a victim. Can't you see that she is a cheater? Can't you see that the guy was in the military? How can you think this way? No, how can you think this way? You're a piece of shit. No, you're a vile scumbag. And you know, I'm watching this from the side, and I'm wondering, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, how? Why are you doing this to yourself? Like, is this something that gets you off? Like, is it actually pleasurable to argue with people on the internet? I mean, I guess, you know, at least if you're a content creator and you talk about it, you make money, you know, it's good drama, I suppose. But, like, if you're just, like, a random guy going into your wage cage and then coming home, instead of playing a video game, or, well, actually, maybe this is the problem, right? There's no video games to play. You just start shouting at other people online because they have a different take about a millionaire chica that has a life 1,000 times better than what you will ever have. She doesn't go to the wage cage. She doesn't lack for money. She's never going to need a single dollar in her life. And yet you're like, oh, she's such a bad person. Okay, well, yeah, she is. But you know what? She's richer than you. Oh, but money isn't important. Yeah, but she's probably happier than you. Sports watching is just an excuse to drink. Oh, I see. That makes sense. Look at her picture. Gets right armor. I can fix and save her. This is another thing that's absolutely mental to me, right? Like, this is beyond mental. You notice that a woman is having the confidence to put herself out there, and she's got 10,000 people watching her live, all right? In total, probably hundreds of thousands once she finishes uploading the video. And she's charismatic, she can do all this shit, and you think you have a chance with her. Like, for some fucking reason, you're not capable of getting a girlfriend from your close circle of friends. Like, you're not capable of landing a woman in your life from your entourage, but you believe that you will actually say something or do something in order to convince this popular chick to be with you. Like, I'm sorry, but even teenage girls weren't this delusional when they were salivating over Justin Bieber or the Backstreet Boys or whomever the fuck they had posters in their walls with. Because, like, when I grew up, I remember, like, every single girl had the post with, like, Animal X and Backstreet Boys and Justin Bieber and someone, like, all the rave. But even they knew deep inside that they will never be with that guy. Because it's like he's a famous person. But, like, for some reason, men today are like, no, I can totally impress her. If only I can donate a little bit more. If only I can give her, like, $5,000 or $50,000 or whatever. The only thing I know about Fruit is she cheated on the same day he deployed. I don't know their relationship, man. It's like, she didn't cheat on me, okay? And she didn't cheat with me. To be honest, I keep saying this, and a lot of people are like, contradicting me, like they don't like the truth. But here's the truth. The men are also responsible. And what I mean by this is the guy cheating, like, if you're the guy's best friend, and your best friend is deployed in the military, and you cheat with his wife, aren't you, like, a little bit responsible? I'm saying she is as well, of course, but, like, it takes two to tango, doesn't it? This is what really pissed me off about Dr. Disrespect the most. Because, you know, if Dr. Disrespect was, like, flirting with a 17-year-old, like, that's legal in my country, so it's not as shocking as many people like. In fact, it's legal in half of the America, which is probably why he doesn't get into legal trouble. But the man is married, he's got children, what the fuck? Like, do we actually not care about that? Infidelity doesn't, huh? Like, no one even brings it up. I even waited to see, like, is anyone going to bring up the fact that he's married, that he's got children? No one cares. She was 17. Okay. I mean, my thoughts is also, it's weird. See, there's another thing. Like, when I was in high school, I was looking at the girls around me, and I was, like, looking at the women that are graduating university, and I was like, my fucking God. Like, look at these women that graduate university. They got cellulitis. They got wrinkles on their faces. They need makeup to cover that shit up. I'm so glad I'm in high school. I wonder what I will do once I graduate university. And then I did graduate university. And I remember, like, I was sitting at a table at a restaurant, and behind me there were a couple of high school girls. And they started talking, and they're like, oh my God, did you see that Claire came to the party? And she had the new phone, and she didn't tell me about it. Oh my God, she's such a cow. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. If I have to stay here for another hour, I'm probably going to commit a terms of service violation. Like, how did I manage, when I was in high school, to tolerate that shit? Like, how? Like, there is nothing in common. It's almost like you're interacting with a completely different species. Like, there is absolutely nothing you can form. Like, no conversation, nothing. It's like, please get me out of here. I'm going insane. And to see someone like Dr. Disrespect at his age talking with someone that's like, how? Like, what exactly are you talking about? What is the conversation to even have? Like, what the fuck? But whatever, you know, like, I wasn't really shocked from a legality point of view, but I was shocked, like, dude, you got a wife and you got kids. Why do you put yourself in that position? You know, like, the infidelity is a little bit more. But I guess I'm a little bit more old-fashioned, you know. You like hacks because of the meme. I like them because I'm the same age as them. The drama does sell, yes. Wait, there's quadruple A? Yes, there is quadruple A. For those of you who do not know the story of the quadruple A, I think it's Ubisoft. Yes, it was the person working on the video game. The huge commercial success, Skull and Bones. Right? So the person working on Skull and Bones said that, oh yes, we're not making, like we should actually have like a quadruple A designation now, because there are games that are so expensive. They may as well be called quadruple A, and it's like, okay, now, for those of you who don't know Skull and Bones, let me see if I can find Skull and Bones original reveal or something like that. Yeah, oh my goodness, it was announced in 2017. Holy shit, that's so freaking old, man. That is so freaking old. Okay. So, basically, you have Assassin's Creed, I think it was Assassin's Creed 4. Yeah, 4 it was the one, right? Where you have, like, the possibility to have your little ship. And in Assassin's Creed 4, you have, like, the whole thing with the ship and the water and the naval combat, and it looks pretty good, you know, but I don't think they expected players will like that part as much, because it was kind of like a mini game, you know, kind of like a way to fill in and add like something new, because back then game developers actually wanted to innovate their games, and they were like, all right, well, let's see, what can we do in order to attract a bigger audience? Like, how can we improve from the previous title? And like, the previous title was like, oh, well, it's Assassin's Creed 3. You got an open world. You get to ride a horse, right? You get to ride a horse, and that's pretty cool. And it's an Assassin's Creed 4. Well, okay, like, what can we do? Well, what if you have the ability to engage in naval combat? And then Assassin's Creed London, like, what if we give them a grappling hook, right? Like, they kept trying to find cool shit. Now they don't even bother. But back then, they were like, introducing this new thing, and some of the things worked, other things didn't, but it's pretty much like how they would test to see if something will sell. And the naval combat was so well received that they actually created an entire game around it called Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Now, people were like, what if it had the multiplayer? Like, why can't we play a game like that but with multiplayer? And back in 2017, they announced this game, and as you can see, the thing that makes it look so is the aesthetics as well. So you have like these ships that looked very awesome. They look almost like almost like they're coming from a fantasy, you know, like Pirates of the Caribbean shit. Like almost like it's going to have lore with voodoo and stuff. Like, you see all these people with face paint and skeletons. I mean, look how cool the ship is, right? So you think, oh, maybe they're going to delve into voodoo and Caribbean lore, and that's going to be awesome. And back then, the women actually look like women, as you can see. You still had like the girl boss cringe stuff. It's like, okay, you have... See, the problem is that it goes against human nature. Like, you have a ship that's filled with men, right? Just manly men, and they have needs. Like, all these men, they have needs. And they're on water for probably months on end. with no woman in sight. But for some reason, this is the captain, and she looks like this, and you don't think it's going to create any problems. Like, there's no human social dynamics that will be involved if you have a ship of lustful men that cannot get their lawyers in check because they're on the sea for months on end, and this is the only woman on the ship. And you don't think that's going to cause any tension. And in fact, usually the games don't even address it. They don't even address that tension. It's just like, it's there for the sake of being there. That's actually one of the things, like, back in the day, it was considered to be bad luck to have a woman on board. Like, that's the mythos that you get to see in pop culture. Like, there's a lot of movies that cover this. Like, captains refusing to set sail if a woman is on board. And the idea is like, oh, look at the misogynist pig, right? Like, look how misogynistic people were back then. But the reality was, no, it wasn't that it was bad luck to have a woman on board. It was the fact that you are on a ship with manly men that are being trapped on that little vessel. It's kind of like a prison. Like, there is nowhere else to go, right? Like, we're not talking about modern ships. We're talking about colonial era ships. And colonial era ships meant that you travel from point A to point B and the journey can last months. You can be out on sea for more than 4 months, sometimes 6, sometimes even more. Because, like, they could stop at a port and they would have to get jobs and find out things to do at the port. They could spend several months there as well. So, the idea that, yeah, you're going to have like a couple of men there, and you're just going to put a couple of women, and nothing will happen. Like, are you fucking insane? Are you mental? Think. It's not like they could call for someone for help, It's not like you're in the middle of the ocean. I mean, imagine if you're the captain, and you find out that some of your crew have raped one of the passengers. Now you got 2 choices, right? Like let's assume that the other guys aren't cool with it, even though it's the age of rape and plunder, as they called it. What if those crewmen were essential? Because usually everyone on board was essential. The ships were so small. I mean, they looked large, but they were actually small. They were small. They would have to only carry the essential personnel, right? So, like, what if the personnel that did the act is actually an essential crewman? Maybe he's the navigator or some shit. Like, what do you do then? Do you lock him up? What if he refuses to navigate? It's just... What about the space station? I think the space station is a little bit different because everything you do there is monitored. So people know. And not only that, people have different morality now than they used to have back then. Like, back then, if you're in the middle of the ocean, no one knows what you're doing. Like, literally no one. You're in the middle of the ocean. If someone dies, you can say they went overboard. And there's nothing that anyone can say or do in order to confirm that wasn't the case. On the space station, everything is monitored. So, like, they get to see what you're doing. And usually on the space station, you don't have young men. Like, you don't have people on the age of 18 to 20 that are packed with hormones and they're, like, incredibly aggressive and very manly and oozing with toxic masculinity. You don't have that on the space station. Naval superstition is more like explanation of wise actions in an unintelligent way. Now, like, let me put it this way, right? Like, this has happened throughout human history, and I noticed it. Like, humanity has a problem, right? They encounter an issue. Like, in this situation, they probably encountered, okay, well, this ship went on, and they had women on board, and they got raped, and now the captain couldn't punish the crew because they were essential to the safety of the navigation of the ship. So what do you do, right? Like, do you blame the captain? And it's like, right, well, okay, in order to avoid that, we're just going to have ships that are only ran by men, right? So that's like them finding a solution to a real problem. Because you don't have diversity consultants back then. You don't have, like, the ability to file a complaint to the HR lady if something happens on the ship, right? So, like, they used what they could in order to make it work somehow, because people still had to travel. So they're like, okay, this is the solution. Like, we're not going to allow women on the ship. Now, as time moves on, the solution turns into tradition. And the tradition is like, well, don't bring women on board because it's superstitious. Now, people can't explain why or what happened, but there was like a reason for it. It's just that it's unknown now. So people think, oh, well, tradition is bullshit. Let's get rid of it. And you get rid of tradition, and then you have bad things happening again. There was like a perfect moral that I heard from a priest, and he said it, and it was like, wow, that's interesting. So the idea was that a couple lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and every winter the wolves would come. So the man was very worried about this and decided to build a fence around the house. And after he built a fence around the house, the wolves found no more food, and they stopped coming. Years later, the wife looks at the fence and thinks that the man placed the fence over there in order to keep her in. So she destroys the fence. The next winter, she's eaten by wolves. And I'm reading that, and I'm like, wow, that's. I mean, that kind of makes sense, yeah. That's pretty much modern ideology. Like, not attempting to understand why the fence is there, refusing to communicate, refusing to ask questions, refusing to even notice the danger, or being part of the people that came up with the solutions, you know? A sailing ship is basically like a prison at sea. Well, people had to be forced to go there. Like they actually had to, the British Army would even kidnap its own citizens and force them to go on ships. Yeah, like ships were horrible. And it's not like, it's actually worse than a prison. Because in a prison, at least you have some level of safety. But on a ship, if you are caught in a storm, if you went overboard, I mean, I don't even know the fatalities of those voyages, but they were probably pretty high, man. And this is even if you managed to survive scurvy, because like for a while they didn't even know what scurvy was or how to get rid of it. Husband, do not come, the wolves. I'm gonna come. Yeah, the whole issue that abuses me is that Act Ma'am again had a hot take, and Act Ma'am is wondering what's happening with BioWare. Like, you need to really, really go out of your way in order to get even normies on your side. Go like, what the fuck is going on here? And, you know, like, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Like, I don't, you know, people say, oh, V, you're grifting. You're like, dude, I don't even need to grift. I just go like, yeah. Brother, ew. Brother, ew, brother. What is that, brother? Brother, ew. It's going so bad. Like, just so you know, on the level of shit wearing. Well, actually, not we, because I don't work at BioWare. But like, you have IGN. Oh, this is gorgeous. Okay, hold on, I'll show you. You got the IGN, and IGN is paid to do a promotion
in Dragon Age.
For Dragon Age, right? And it's getting so fucking bad that I feel bad for the people at IGN. Like, I actually feel now compassion for game journalists. And imagine you're giving this, and you're like, okay, well, we need you to make a promotional material. Like, we need you... we need you to convince people to give $70 of their own money to buy this. Right? And you're the journalist, they're like, oh, fuck me. Like, how do I do it? And let's see how they do it. I mean, it's kind of difficult, but look.
The character creator in Dragon Age the Veilguard is incredible. There are so many options and sliders, from the usuals like hair color and style, eye shape, noses, all the way down to things like bulge size. Vitiligo, we got that. Heterochromia, of course. Asymmetrical ears, body and face tattoos, 8 different styles of glitter, and even a melanin slider. If you're not feeling particularly creative or you just want to get started as soon as possible with a good looking...
And by the way, every single outlet is talking about the character creator. All of a sudden, everyone is talking about the character creator. And I'm thinking, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I remember games when they were good, and no one, like maybe they would mention, oh yeah, like the character creator is there. But like everybody was talking about the gameplay, the spells, the loot, the armor, the story. Like that's the shit that people care about. Now, yeah. By the way, you can you can have bulge sizes, and yeah, this is the character creator, and everyone is like, well, the character creator. Oh, Dios mío. So you have it's a map going, what happened, and in order to respond to Act Ma'am, what happened, just show them a picture of heel versus babyface. That's it. Like, you don't need to add anything else. You don't need to say anything else. It's like, he will know. Could have been prevented. And the character creator itself. This is like the maximum level of breast size that you can have. In other words, the sliders, they don't fucking work. They don't fucking work. This is the maximum level of chest size. And, you know, it's not like they will say, oh, so you're a Khmer, oh, la la. No, I know why the developers did it. And I dislike them for it. That's why. I know the purpose of why they don't do it. Because it's not like they used to do it in Dragon Age 2. Like, you had games that had breast sliders. It's just not, right? The bulge slider actually increases the bulge a lot higher than the chest slider. I know why they do it. And I want to say, fuck them, and fuck you for supporting them. How about that? Yeah, no, but like we're reaching the point in fantasy, and this is what they're pushing, right? Because like, if you actually listen to GDC, you can predict everything that's going to come out in 2 years. Like you listen to GDC, and it's almost like they're saying some of the most dumb, crazy, fucked up shit imaginable. And you're like, well, no one that wants to make money will listen to them. But then you notice that in 3 years, literally every single game listens to them. So it wasn't like a suggestion. It's like, no, it's like a Communist Party communicat. Like, this is what you're going to do from now on. And one of the things that they were saying is like, we need to stop having races in fantasy because it encourages racismus. And this is when you get to see that there are so many games where they abolish the concept of race from fantasy. And it's just like humans cosplaying. So you look at Age of Wonders, and they have various reasons to integrate this. Like, sometimes they can say, well, it's gameplay reason or whatever. Whatever they're doing, they remove races. That's it. That's the memo, right? So Age of Wonders, the last one, you can have orcs that are a highly intelligent mage race, or you can have orcs that are industrial, or you can have orcs that are good and benevolent. The race is not tied to the culture anymore. Now they have, like, instead of races, what they have, because like you still need the race concept, right? Because back in Age of Wonders 3, it was the elves are with nature, right? So they're more like a medieval race. The humans, they're more industrious, so you have like cannons and shit. The dragons, they're focused on flying and aerial units, right? So like every race was oozing with personality. Now they don't have that. They have, I think it's like faction trait or something like that, where you can say, oh yeah, like this faction is industrious or this faction is barbaric. Or... But anyway, right, like the idea is that they removed race. You look at Star Trek Picard. The Vulcans, the Romulans, they're all acting the same. They're like humans cosplaying. You look at Dragon Age. You look at Dungeons and Dragons. The same thing. They're making statements after statements on how they're removing races from the game. You look at, what else did they did this to? Because the fucking cancer is everywhere. I think even Lord of Rings of Power plus Privilege. Like, everywhere they can, they're removing the concept of race. And as you can see here, it's getting to the point where it's just like humans cosplaying. That's it. like it's still a human being. And to be fair, I think this is like the cheapest thing that they could possibly do. This, to me, looks like when you have Facebook filter on, and, you know, like you want to surprise your girlfriend, and you look like a cat in front of a judge or some shit like that, yeah? This actually takes talent. This is difficult to do, right? This actually takes an artist and has to like think about how the muscles would make sense and create a creature that looks like a human but is different enough to be a different race, right? This right here, this is a human being. This comes from California. Like, this chick goes to the office. I guarantee to you. She goes and works at Google and plays in the ball pit. It's like, what are you doing? And you want people to pay you for this. Zero imagination, zero creativity. Nothing is there. And they want money. They want money for that. It's astonishing. It's just, wow. Yeah, the show with good orcs. Yeah, in Rings of Power plus Privilege, now the orcs, apparently, they're just misunderstood. They have children, like you and I, and they love their wives, and they just want to go into Gondor in order to... They're going into Gondor in order to just have like to flee from poverty, basically. To flee from poverty, yes. And Aragorn is racist, and he's a piece of shit because he never tries to understand them. And Gandalf is also racist because when he heard that the orcs are coming, he didn't say, well, open the gates, you bigot. Can't wait till we get a female super mutant in the second season of Fallout. Oh, God. Everything has to be the same, doesn't it? Like, you can't just have a fictional setting where a race only has, like, one gender. Where, like, this race only has men. No, it needs to have women. Why? Because reasons. It's just fucking hell. Like, you can't just have Space Marines. There needs to be female Space Marines. But the truth is, like, the female Space Marine that they added looks so close to a man that you can't tell. Like, if they wouldn't say that it's a female Space Marine, I wouldn't have fucking known. Let me see the picture of her. So female Space Marine official. She's not a... Well, actually, she's not a female Space Marine. She's a Custodes. Custodes. Female Custodes show. Where is the Chinmeister? God, I can't find a picture with her. If someone can send me a picture with her, I would appreciate it. She's got, like, the strongest jawline ever created. Well, actually, no, my bad. Dragon Age Origin of Consent. that one has, like... Yeah, I don't think we can actually improve this. Like, I think the Californian manly jawline industry has finally reached perfection. Like, there is nothing better than this. Like, you just cannot do it. Like, this is it. This is the maximum. Even if you get, like, the smartest minds from the benches of gender studies in the United States, you cannot come up with a better jawline than this. But the second one, right after this, like, if you can't have this, then the second one is that female Custodes from Warhammer. Hello, Dragonclaw. He looks even disappointed with it. Man, you know, like, there's that thing where, like, women like something, but if it's too much, they hate it. And it's like, women like a tall guy, right? But, like, if you're too tall, if you're like Andrew the Giant, even women won't like it. It's like, no, this guy is too tall. It's the same thing with penis size. Like, a lot of men are happy. It's like, oh, I got a big penis. But, like, there are women that if they see that it's too huge, they will say, no, that thing doesn't get inside me. It looks painful. And I think it's the same with the jawline. Like, women like a man with a jawline, but, like, at some point, the jawline is so strong that even women are like, no. Looks ridiculous. I mean, it's kind of the same for men, right? Like, us with boobs. Like, we like boobs on a girl, but, like, if the boobs are, like, ridiculously huge, if they're like, comical in nature, then no one likes it. Same with the ass. If Blizzard were to make another expansion involving ogres, then not only will they implement female ogres, but there will be some kind of ogre matriarchal society. Oh, God. It would be about feelings. It will all be about feelings. About, like, how you have this ogre that's not like the other ogres, and he's feeling oppressed, and he's just misunderstood, and we're going to explore his childhood trauma and focus on that rather than, you know, what the game is called, Warcraft. Oh yeah, finally I found it. So, there's another picture of her that's even better, but like, again, apparently this is a female custodes. And the cope is the lore, right? I mean, well, of course, like, in the lore, she's got the Emperor's gene seed, so of course she's going to look like that. I mean, the lore, they don't care about the lore when it says there's no female space marines. When it's about that, they don't care, right? But when it's about pushing their ideology, they have to use it like a Trojan horse and suggest, no, actually, it's the lore. It's the lore. This is why she looks like this. I mean, holy fucking shit, look at this. Absolute unit. Which is why I'm saying, I mean, it works. Because, like, they do say that all Space Marines are men, and, well, I mean, maybe she just identifies, but, you know, it's just like the Empire is having the same struggle that Matt Walsh is doing, and they can't answer what is a woman anymore, so, like, it's just... No, but seriously, like why would you make... Because I have seen female Sisters of Battle that look feminine. Like, I'm not asking her to look sexy. I'm asking her to have feminine features. And... there are Sisters of Battle that look feminine. But for some fucking reason, I knew it. Like, I told Sargon, it's like, look, don't worry about it. If they add female Space Marines, they're going to look like men anyway, so you can't really tell. The only reason you're getting upset is they tell you it's a woman, but if they don't tell you, you wouldn't know. So just don't listen to their official communiques. Stop listening to them. The Lord justifies why she looks at that. Yes, the same Lord that justifies why she doesn't exist. I know. The Imperium of Manjaw. Yeah. No, but like, dude, but my favorite take, every single time a new game comes out, the shills are out in force. And they will defend the game, but they will never buy the game. And they will basically say, well, you're just grifting. You're just grifting. The game is fine, you know. And I'm like, look. If I was to complain about the size that the rocks have outside my house, you know, I go outside my house and I start making videos about the sizes of the rocks, and I complain, it's like, why are the rocks shaped this way? Why are they covered with dirt? Do you think people would watch that content? No, they wouldn't. Why do people watch when I complain about the manly jawlines that female characters have? Because they feel the same way, that's why. And the reason you complain is because you know that there are more people that feel the same way than people that like you that are supporting it. And you're absolutely terrified, because back in 2018, if I was complaining about this shit, no one would care. I mean, look at Heels versus Babyface, right? Like, when he was complaining, no one cared. He was a fucking prophet, I tell you. Like, he was like the herald of the apocalypse. Of the chinpocalypse. Check DMs in Discord. Why can't you give me a super chat like normal people, dude? Holy fucking shit. Jesus fucking Christ. You know, like, okay, let me put it this way. This is, like you gotta understand, this is what they must be thinking, right? That there are people out there who fantasize about this. Like, when you come home from your wage cage and you're sitting down and you're like, it's time for entertainment. I just want to relax. You know, I don't want to think about work. I don't want to think about paying taxes. I don't want to think about the inflation. I just want to tune out. I want to go into a fantasy world, shoot some Xenos. And they believe that this is what people think. Like, this is their fantasy. It's like hiding behind this woman's skirt as she mows down Tyranids in the name of the Emperor. Which, you know, it may be something that the people that create these abominations in the eye of the Emperor are thinking, you know? It's like, maybe this is what they're into. But I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying that she needs to be hot, okay? But what I am saying is that she has no grace. She has no pose. She's got no femininity. Which begs the question, why would you add female characters if you're not interested in making them cool? In making them graceful. The Sisters of Battle, or you know, even this, right? Like, what is this? This is one of the elves chicks, right? They're graceful, like just their body shape, their body size, right? Like it's not just the clothing, but the way the body looks, the shoulders and everything, right? At least this looks more cool. Like, this actually looks like a woman. This looks like an absolute unit. I don't know what the... Why did you want it in the game so badly? This is my question. Like, if it was in the game from the beginning, like, that's fine. But, like, you really fought for this. You really wanted it in the game. And when you finally get it, you just make men. It's just so fucking weird. What are her organs? Well, all over the place, probably. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. If you ask, like, why does she look at this, they will say the lore. And it's the same lore that justifies that she shouldn't exist. Anyway, I'm going to upload the videos on my secondary channels now. So thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys later. Take care.